If you have questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please submit them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Predicting the future. Hi, I'm Dave Arnott, the Christian Economist. Predictions are difficult, especially those about the future. Now, that quote from Danish physicist Niels Bohr was about the uncertain future use of nuclear power, but it certainly applies to economics forecast. Almost everyone on Wall Street and in Washington got 2022 wrong. Well, really, economically, the folks in Washington are not supposed to have anything to do with economics. And until about 100 years ago, they didn't. Try finding a newspaper article from, say, 1910 about the economy that blames anything on the government. It just didn't happen. The economy was seen as a force of nature that humans could not control. Then with economic humanism, which I explain more in podcast number 21, we decided that we humans were in charge of the economy. Yet, okay, it's correlational and maybe it's even causal that the founding of the Fed in 1914, which was supposed to deal with monetary policy, also coincides with the growth of fiscal policy. The founding of the Fed was followed by severe regulatory policy from Franklin Roosevelt, who essentially stole power from the legislative branch to empower the presidency. Securities are not secure. Secure came into English in the 1530s from the Latin word securus. Now, when applied to persons, securus could mean free from care, quiet, or maybe even easy. Now, the original meaning in English was free from danger. Initially, the word was applied to property pledged for a loan. Now, that's logical because the property was intended to make the loan free from danger to the lender. Somewhat later, the word began to be applied to evidentiary documents verifying loans and collateral, and eventually all documents that proved financial rights. Okay, you have a secure legal right to the property in a limited liability corporation, but there is no financial security. I mean, anywhere, anytime. As a matter of fact, it's just a fact of human nature. Nothing is secure, except, of course, most Christians view our salvation as secure. But we still use this word security in finance. Collateral is security for a loan. Stocks and bonds are securities. Since we have a human nature that demands security, it gets supplied by many things in life, like money, stocks and bonds, relationships, and self-esteem. But none of those are secure. People find happiness when they learn to live in that unsecure environment. Now, the generation of my sophomores at Dallas Baptist University are the richest generation ever. I mean, in the history of the world. There's never been a richer generation. Then why do they feel so insecure? And by they, I mean the generation. Why do 22% of them nationwide report that anxiety affected their academic performance? It's because of today's topic. They are unable to predict the future. Currencies are called notes. During the gold standard, they literally were notes. The British currency is called the pound because it represented a pound of silver. The Polish currency is called the zloty because that word means gold. Well, since we're talking about it, how about the US dollar? Okay, well, that word comes from a Low German word dollar, which means a coin made in silver from the Hochmestaler silver mine in what's now the Czech Republic. I may have mispronounced that, but it ends in dollar. Okay, but when you decouple the currency from a material of sound value, you give humans the power to debase it, and they have. We call it inflation, and that's what we're experiencing today. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said last week that inflation may not have peaked. Yikes. I mean, it was 8.5%. The next month it was 7.1, and he's warning us it may go up again? Even more bad news. The Social Security Administration estimates they will run out of money in 2035. But better economic data is being used by the Congressional Budget Office, and they say it's more like 2033. Here's a key sentence about Social Security. Social Security's future is not secure. Did you get that? Security is not secure. Okay, that always seems to happen when fallen humans are involved. My next book might be an explanation of the government programs that are not biblical. Social Security will be the first subject analyzed. Debt is unsustainable. A headline this week announced, "The massive global debt load is increasingly unsustainable," unquote. Yeah, I've been saying that since my very early podcast. One of my first ones, it was number 8. It is titled National Debt. Of course, national debt levels are unsustainable. I used to lead some seminars for certified public accountants. I showed up one morning in Pittsburgh, the week the Pittsburgh Penguins of the National Hockey League went bankrupt. The attendees at my seminar were acting like stereotypical CPAs, being very quiet and demure. So to try to start a conversation, I looked up from my newspaper and asked, "How did the Penguins go bankrupt?" There was no response from the CPAs in the crowd. I waded in again. How did the Penguins go bankrupt? One of the CPAs said very slowly and carefully, "Expenditures exceeded revenues in the long term." He explained the current national debt. Expenditures are exceeding revenues in the long term. That is unsustainable. But as I'm recording this, Congress is just about to pass another $1.7 trillion blowout spending bill. Why do they do this? Well, because they can. They've figured out how to spend without paying for it. Now, don't steal was law number 8 for Moses, and it is one of the 10 biblical commandments of economics that I found while writing the book Biblical Economic Policy with Sergei Seidamatov. Congress spends because they have the control mechanism to do so. They are securing the present at the cost of the future. The loss of freedom. A free market is where everyone votes. Increasingly, fiscal and monetary policy remove freedom from the market and place that power in the hands of a few falsely anointed leaders who think they can secure the economy. They can't. Recently, Chairman Powell made an announcement, and the stock market went up 1.5% in that one day. See, that's not the market's talking. The market has been taken over by economic humanists who are trying to control how goods and services are produced and distributed. Don't fear the future. That's the title of my most watched podcast. It's number 88. I think it's because it hits at the heart of economic policy, trying to predict the future. Now, Karl Marx said religion is the opiate of the masses and that people should be free from it. Well, what did he suggest as a replacement? Labor unions as security, believe it or not. Okay, this week, unions are strangling the freedom of the British people to distribute health care among the nation. Now, how's that working out for the Brits? Where's the freedom in that? Daniel Yergin has an article in the Wall Street Journal about the economic effects of Russian oil. The article reminded me of his groundbreaking book with Joseph Stanislav titled The Commanding Heights. They explain that Britain was crippled by strikes in the 1970s, and that's what brought Margaret Thatcher to power. Seems like the Brits have not learned much about economic freedom in the last 50 years. History is repeating itself. They sought security in unions again, and it has failed them again. Now, I have more to say about this in podcast number 52, titled How Unions Cause Disunion in the Union. Well, how about this? Unions are ununiting the United Kingdom today. So many movies follow the theme of time travel when someone goes into the future. The reason they do it in movies is because you can't do it in real life. See, that's the power of both Christianity and economics. Christianity is a religion that takes life as reality, and economics is an academic system that studies the production and distribution of products and services in the real world. As Screwtape said to Wormwood in the Screwtape Letters, quote, "Get the patient to worry about the future," end quote. But we should not fall for those devil's lies. As we begin 2023, let's look forward to the future with great anticipation and delight. Of course it's uncertain. That's what gives us economic freedom. And that's what makes it challenging and fun. I'm Dave Arnott, the Christian Economist. Fear God, tell the truth, earn a profit. See you next time. For more information, please visit us online at davearnott.com. If you have questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please submit them online or in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.